Hello everyone, thanks you're watching that video. And in that video I'm gonna to share my recent experience from Upwork. Particular I'm gonna to talk about how much efforts may cost to fix the performance issue in the application. And as usually like many of my other videos, I will start with the history, then I will proceed with the performance discussion, problems and solutions, and finally I'm gonna to end with revealing how much efforts I spent to fix the same problem for one application. The history of the video is pretty straightforward. I believe you are familiar what the Upwork is. It's the platform which connects from one side customers, from other side freelancers. And one day I found very interesting job post like with the title "Our Angular-based application works extremely slow." And in the details there were something like, we're gonna to find someone who can help us to fix that problem. And even we are expecting the page speed metric will increase from 30 points to 60 points. And it was exactly what I did not so long time ago. That's why I've decided to submit on this job post. And I put in cover letter all the details, the expertise I had, the experience, what I'm gonna to do, and the price. Unfortunately, the submission declined with the reason the price is too high. That's why I've decided to create that video. That video addressed mostly to business owners, for those who may have the same problem or have the same problem and going to fix but don't know how much efforts it may cost. And so I would like to provide the complexity of the performance issue in that video and reveal a bit the costs of efforts. Okay, let's move on with the discussion about the performance. In general, why it's happening that application starts working slow? Usually I answer on that question because of bad architecture. But saying the bad architecture, I don't want to criticize or accuse anyone. Saying the bad architecture, I mean that the front-end architecture may no longer align involved business needs. That means business grew, and it grows faster than engineers can run. That means that during the project life, engineers tasked with the implementation of some features. And during the implementation, engineers prioritized faster delivery, what's requested by stakeholder, over the comprehensive and performance optimal solution. And over time, those instances accumulate, and collectively they dramatically affects the performance metrics. And unfortunately there is no single remedy to fix it. What you can do is just return time back and start working with every Z solution separately. Why it's happening? Developers didn't invest time to create more performance optimal solution because of many reasons. Some of them, for example, tight deadlines. Another reason, maybe different teams have been working with an application, and that's why it has been applied different solution, different patterns, different techniques. So as a consequence, there is a lack of consistency in the application. You cannot apply one approach to fix the performance problem in the whole application because it's written in different way in different places. The other, I would say, natural reason could be like the project or the code has aged, because it's long time already the project has existed, and what was like initially works well for small scale application right now cannot work for large one. Kind of a small example here could be, let's say if you have in your application one page to display the list with users, and initially you had just 100 users, but now you had 1000 users. And even considering the response size, the size of the response which you are receiving from the server, it will be 1000 times more right now compared to the initial its state. And if you will, what's the approach you can use to optimize? For example, if you will take a look on the user object, you will see that it contains, for example, 10 property names which are describing that user. And those property names just only, they are repeated 100 times at the initial state. but right now they repeat it 1000 times. So it's like a useless repeat. And what you can do, just as an instant example, you can, instead of first name, last name, create the full name property. And in that way you can read from the user object one extra property, from the 10 to 9 already its number, and it will be automatically populated to the rest of the user objects, and in that way the response size will be decreased roughly by 10%. So it's just a small example, and there are many other approaches which you can apply to reduce the response time, arrays, bitwise operations, etc. The response size is important because the larger response size is important because the larger response requires more time to get it from the server. And also that means that it's important for the developers do not miss the moment when such optimization should be done. Because initially, when the project just has started, at the moment when you have just only 100 users, the engineers fairly may tell you that it's like over-engineering to optimize that response right now. They cannot jump ahead in the future and see how the project will look, and that's why it's not possible to optimize all the solution. But the important, do not miss the moment when the project starts growing and the moment when such optimizations should be applied. It's not related just only for the response time, it's related to all of the features. And if you will not miss it, so you can reduce the number of those instances accumulated to its minimal size so that it will not affect dramatically the performance. That's why I want to say that the performance management is a constant process. You always have to pull the performance metric, always. Because even the small changes may affect dramatically even the performance. The small changes in CSS, in JavaScript. The page speed metric by itself, it's a complicated algorithm. And it's sometimes too sensitive to something that you may not expect it's important for performance. That's why you have always to track the performance metrics and the to do performance management for your application. What possible solutions to fix it when you have encountered already that? There are many suggestions in the internet and even the suggestions and recommendations issued by PageSpeed But when the engineers starts working and resolving all of them, they encounter limitations and restrictions. For example, such recommendation remove unused or useless CSS or JavaScript. Developers or engineers may start removing, but they may remove just only small pieces of that code, and eventually that will not push that metric at upper. And they cannot because of, for example, that part of code is legacy, we cannot do here anything. That part is done by someone else and better do not touch. Here are the reasons. That's why we can just remove only those and those, we can just apply a small efforts. But anyway, those efforts will cost also around 2 weeks, but they will not bring any results. So, the same is related to optimize the image size. You again may encounter some limitations and restrictions. Some images is possible, some images is not possible, and you have to create a mechanism. That's why the ideal suggestion how to fix the performance issue is to redesign the architecture, redesign and refactor services, compilation, maybe components, and once you will have created the new architecture, the new approach how to build, then it may be already easy to solve all of those recommendations issued by PageSpeed. You can already remove not just only the small pieces of the code, you can already play with the chunks, removing the entire chunks from some parts of your application. And once you will create the new architecture with the full power, you can start optimize and resolving all of that. And then finally you can tune a little bit those factors to which the page speed metric is the most sensitive, and again one more push the metric ahead. Then just only that approach is working, relying on my experience. So, what I did exactly what I said. I did a redesigning of the architecture. I don't want to tell that I did a huge redesign, huge refactoring and rewriting of the components. I did the redesign of compilation, how they're connected between each other, like how the services injected in the components. It was also the huge changes. At least you have to project how it will work and to keep all the requirements which are still existed for your application, if it's mobile, desktop, responsive, etc., etc. And once the architecture was ready, we started the implementation. Overall, I spent with me and two senior engineers, we spent around 2 months just to create that architecture and to migrate to that approach a small part of the application, not the whole application, but just only the part. And then we tested and deployed, released kind of it, and we checked that the performance page speed metric increased to 65 around it from the 30. So we have reached it. And after the architecture is ready, after the approach is ready, it's already possible to project and to create the roadmap how to migrate to that similar approach the rest parts of the application. But now it's more easy, even a lot of time easier, because at least you know that you can do the estimation of removing the next part of the application and how much it will cost to reach in the rest part of the application the same indicators. So it's possible to already to start. So to continue. So in conclusion, 2 months is me and two senior front-end engineers did the page speed improvements. We have reached more than 60 points, and it was just only for the one part of the application. The rest part should be covered, but more easy. That's the efforts which I spent to fix that problem for one application. So thanks for watching that video, and I believe maybe now you may have more grasp why it's too complicated to fix the performance and how to prevent that problem to be existed in the future. You should always spend time to control the page speed metric during the development, during the whole life of your project. Thanks, bye.